Welcome to Speaking Tips and Tricks, where I'm going to be teaching you the Speaking Tips and Tricks formula. Let's get into it. So, what is the Speaking Tips and Tricks formula? Before we get into it, I want to remind you guys that you can use this formula for anything. You don't need to have a degree to become your own social media presenter. You understand that it takes time, courage, and discipline. You know by this point how to be confident because you know the true definition of confidence, and you're ready to speak. You've started speaking, you've started recording the sound of your voice, you've already posted that first talking video, well done. You are now at the point to take your speaking to a whole new level. Speaking with confidence, looking directly down the barrel, finding the right tone of your voice takes time. Coming from radio myself, being in community, commercial, all the way through just to social media presenting, I've done it all. Finding the sound of your voice takes time, courage, and discipline. And a little bit of help. You know that script writing can help you. You know that filming in a certain way can help you. And you know that editing can help you. There's multiple ways of doing it, and no, either way, right, wrong, left, right, there's whatever suits you, suits you. You follow and do what helps you get to where it is you need to go. And at the start, you don't need to be perfect. Trust me, coming from someone to remind you that I used to take half an hour to an hour to even do a simple intro or outro before the video could even begin. It takes time. And if I can do it, you can do it. So, moving into speaking tips and tricks, this is the formula. Let's get into it. Before we go into the formula, I want to remind you that this is going to feel uneasy. It's going to be hard. It was hard for me. Like I said, it took me 7 months before I could even like the sound of my voice, let alone do it correctly and, start doing it within shorter amounts of time. But it's going to be hard and it's going to feel uneasy. And you need to know that now. Nothing we do in life is easy all the time. And when we're comfortable, well, that's not good too. You want to be pushing yourself, challenging yourself. In order for you to grow as a social media presenter, growing your products, business, personal brand, both, scaling on all platforms, living the best life, the life that you want to live and create for yourself, making money doing what you love on social media, you're going to have to know that. And I just wanted to make that very clear before we get into it. Now let's get into it. So, what is the Speaking Tips and Tricks formula? What is the formula? Write this down. This is it. The moment you have been waiting for once again. Just like, what sort of content should I be creating? The formula that I'm about to share with you can be used for all videos and all platforms. Whether you're speaking on stories, you're creating reels, shorts, TikToks, or someone's filming you, interviewing people in your local CBD or at the beach. Depending on what type of content you are creating, you may be on a podcast, whatever it is, this Speaking Tips and Tricks formula is going to help you execute the correct talking video that includes everything you should be talking about and how to do it. So you can gravitate towards and help drag in your target audience. So here we go. Number 1, an intro. Write down intro. An introduction is important to all videos, and having a consistent intro is important. For example, hey, it's Tay and welcome to my Be Your Own Social Media Presenter course where I'm going to teach you how to grow your own personal brand, business, or both thanks to social media. That's an introduction. So, having a consistent intro is crucial. It's number 1. It's the first thing that you should do with all your speaking videos. Think about it. Why do all the podcasters and all the journalists on radio or Channel 9 News or Channel 7 presenters, why do they all start with the same intro? Well, because it's consistent, it's memorable, and we just start listening. Within a couple of seconds, I told you what my name was, what you were watching, what it will do for you, and now you're hooked. So having a consistent intro is number 1, and it is super important. If you don't have an intro, be creative. Maybe it's hello there, it's John here. Or what's up guys, it's Nathan here. or hi there, it's Blake, or g'day guys, how's it going? You can be so creative. You don't have to do what everyone else does. However, the whole point of it is becoming consistent. You want a consistent intro. You want a consistent intro because people will start remembering you and they'll start looking forward to your videos. Every time they hear your voice and consistent intro, they're ready to watch your next video. Number 2, who. W-H-O, who. After you have your introduction comes who. Who is number 2. Who are you going to be talking about? If the video is about you, you identify that straight away. If the video is about your mom or someone else close nearby, or maybe it's, let's just say, about a colleague or a story that happened at work, then that's who you mention. You mention it straight away. Hi there, it's Tatum Knowles here, and today I'm talking about my social media presenter students and how well they are going with the course. Within that, I said my intro and I identified who it is that I'm talking about. Number 2 is who. Now you know. Number 3, what. Highlight what you will be talking about. By this point, you've identified your introduction, you've identified who you're going to be talking about, and now you are going to layer the rest of your conversation by describing the types of things you're going to be talking about. For example, hi, my name is Tatum and welcome to the Be Your Own Social Media Presenter course. Today I'm going to be talking about my students and how well they're doing. Some of the things we're going to discuss in today's video is speaking tips and tricks and the content formula to how speaking tips and tricks is going to help you be the best public speaker. After you described some of the things, what is number 3? What. Once you've described what you will be talking about, then you're up to the next step. You're smashing it by this point. Number 4, when. When is crucial because you can describe layers and things around you. You can make it very tasty by this point. When. You now describe when someone can do it or when you did it. It depends on who you're talking about. If you're talking about you, you talk about when things happened or when you did something. If you're talking about someone else, it's when they do it. Or if you're making a recommendation, you recommend when is the best time for them to do it. It depends. If it's educational and helping, or if it's about you, or if it's storytelling about someone else or your product, for example. When is an identifier, and it also adds a nice little bit of oomph to your video. Remember, you've done your intro, you've described who you're talking about, you described what type of things you'll be discussing, and now you mention when. You're giving the layer. For example, when can you do the Be Your Own Social Media Presenter course? At any time, anywhere. At home, at work, in the office, listening through earphones. You can do it anywhere. You could be walking to the shops or listening to it in your car. That's when. You are giving information and you're making it relatable for someone to go, well, I can do that. Or wait, when did I do that in my life? Making it interesting. Number 5, where. Mention where someone can do it. It's very similar to when, but if you've mentioned when you did it, you could also mention more places where you went. Where is another storytelling technique where in your videos, if you're describing the places you went, or I went to this cafe, then I went to a bar, then we went to this after party where I bumped into Christina Aguilera and it was an amazing night, or let's just say where you can go to go get that favorite skirt, or where can you go to order that favorite longboard. Talk where. It's more storytelling, it's more in depth. It's breaking it down and adding another extra layer. It's a powerful story technique. Mentioning where you go next or where someone else can do it, usually it's land focused. It's describing the location of where your story is set. If it's about a business that you've supported, or let's just say it's a place you went overseas or where you could go overseas, you describe that location. You describe where. Number 6, why. W-H-Y, why. Why is probably one of the most important because you are therefore mentioning why what you're talking about is important. If you mention and tell someone why it's important to you about what you're currently talking about, let's just say it's something personal and it's a personal story, it's touching, it could be on the sad side of the spectrum, or it could be happy. Well, Why is really important because you are therefore telling someone why what you're talking about matters. And if you tell them, you directly tell them. For example, the reason why I'm talking about speaking tips and tricks and the formula is because it helps people go from amateur speakers to professional speakers. And I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about supporting people becoming better speakers, because if more people become better speakers, they can help others become better speakers too. That's just a little example. If you mention at this point in your video why what you're talking about matters, you are therefore concreting in your audience, you are therefore concreting it and setting it in stone. If someone asked you why is that important or why, sometimes we just need to tell people. And if you don't tell them, they won't know. Why is important? Make sure you always add that little spice of why to your speaking tips and tricks. Make sure you always add that little spice why, because it's going to take your video to the next level. And people find that relatable and they're going to connect with it and they're going to follow you. I promise you. Number 7, how. Mention how someone can do it. How can you write the speaking tips and tricks formula? By doing this. Introduction. Who, what, when, where, why, how. How. That's how you do it. If you teach someone and do it in, for example, like lists, if you explain things in a list format, you're therefore teaching someone else how to do it. Depending on what you're talking about. Maybe you're doing a video for a product and it's a portable iron, for example. You've got to teach someone how to use it. How do you use it? You plug it in, you fill it up with water, you turn it on, you press the steam, and you start doing it. There you go. You now told your audience how they can do it too. Lastly, an outro. An outro is just as important as an intro. Why? Because it's consistency. You want to keep things consistent. Remember, you want to denoise and you want your social media to be an experience. By eliminating all distractions as much as possible, you're going to connect with your broader audience. Having an outro is just as relative as having a good intro. And also, what makes it even spicier is an outro is the last thing your audience is going to hear. So, what does that mean? You can tell them what it is you actually want them to do. Here's an example. Thank you for listening to today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it and you want more, please head over to my Instagram, click on the website and sign up. Or for example, thank you for listening, guys. Make sure you stay tuned, more content coming soon. If you liked this video and it was helpful, make sure you save it and like it and comment a friend below. Or maybe, just maybe, you want to start growing other platforms. Here's another example. Maybe you want to grow all your other channels. Well, send them there. If you want people to follow you on Instagram, say it in your outro. If you want people to go on TikTok, say it in your outro. If you want to send your YouTube followers to your Instagram or TikTok, you say it in your YouTube videos. When you are doing something, or depending on what you're talking about, let's say you're trying to raise money for charity, in your outro, you tell them where to go to donate. Maybe you're talking about a product and you want people to buy it. You send them to the website where they can therefore buy it. So, you now know the speaking tips and tricks formula. Introduction, who, what, when, where, why, how, followed by an outro. It's as simple as that. Here's an example in a nutshell. Hey, it's Tay and welcome to the Be Your Own Social Media Presenter course, where I'm going to be talking about the course that's going to be touching on speaking tips and tricks and a formula that's going to help you take your speaking to the next level. How can you do it? Well, it's easy. You do it by following and subscribing and signing up to my course. When can you do it? From at home, anywhere. You could be anywhere and do this course. It's going to help, I promise you. You can do it anyway. That just came from the top of my head. I've been doing it for a while. But if you need help with production, pre-production, write some scripts, write some dot points, you now have the speaking tips and tricks formula. How I use it is by writing introduction, who, what, when, where, why, how, followed by an outro, and next to it I would write my answers. And I would always use this before I would get in front of the camera to ensure if I've forgotten about anything, I can add more information. If there's too much information, I can get rid of information. And if it's perfect, well, I use it as a guide and I film how I want. Congratulations for watching today's video. You can now move on to the next video.